In this video I'm going to share with you 3 thoughts about the current state of Warhammer 40k that crossed my mind this week. First, we are going to take a quick look at the Piety and Pain box that went up for pre-order this past Saturday, March 20. Second, the Sisters of Battles Castigator tank shown in the Warhammer Community preview really raised my attention. And third, the way Bellacore is going to pierce invul saves in the not so distant future is stirring my personal pot of salt just a little bit too much. How so? Let's find out. Welcome to SwissHammer, your channel for modeling in Warhammer 40k. My name is Tammer and I will be guiding you through this video. Right in time for the new Drukhari Codex, GW released the Piety and Pain box, featuring both Sisters of Battle and Drukhari models. In terms of value, the box is fairly evenly divided between the two armies, and each of them gets a new model on top. The Palatine for the Sisters of Battle and Lelith Hesperax for the Drukhari. Based on my rough estimate, the total value of Sisters of Battle models is roughly $160, with Drukhari being close behind with roughly $155. This puts the total value of models at roughly $315. The box price is set at the very reasonable $170 though, which means that you get the models at almost half their total price. In fact, this kind of discount means that even when you are just collecting one of the two armies, you are paying a small novelty price for the new model and basically get the other half for free. Regardless of this excellent discount, I have to say that I was more than a little surprised last Saturday when the box sold out within roughly 15 minutes of going up for pre-order. While I do remember quite a run on the Indomitus box, I don't think even that one sold out this fast. Unsurprisingly enough, several Piety and Pain boxes started to appear on auction sites shortly after, so the usual scalpers seem to have been at work. I did, however, hear from multiple sources that local game stores had quite limited pre-order stock themselves, and the one where I personally order from certainly seemed to confirm that sentiment. Are we seeing production problems due to the worldwide situation finally catching up? But then why did we not see a similar situation with the Pariah Nexus expansion? Even though that one is certainly a far worse deal in terms of pricing, the gating of heavy intercessors behind it should have ensured a few extra sales. All in all, this one just kept me wondering. Sisters of Battle are a popular enough army, Drukhari just getting their new codex, keeping the box this limited strikes me as a little odd, unless they really ran into some kind of manufacturing problems. On more pleasant news, moving on to the Castigator tank. Ever since the release of their beautiful new models, I have been keeping an eye on the Sisters of Battle. I think that they have received a strong 8th edition codex, which transitioned nicely to 9th edition as well. Personally, when looking at the different Sisters units, I always feel that they are fairly average on their own, at least from my somewhat biased Space Marine point of view. However, synergy across the army, as well as interesting mechanics such as the miracle dice, really makes them come out as a strong army that regularly scores well in the competitive environment, including tournaments. I always liked that kind of concept over individual super powerful models. It is partly because of this that I look forward to seeing the rules for the new Castigator tank. Outside of the Exorcist, they lack in that regard. And there is of course the close resemblance to the Space Marine Predator tank, which didn't exactly age well. I'm really curious about how they are going to make this tank fit into a Sisters army and if it can become a competitive unit. If they manage to pull it off successfully, it might as well be a showcase for how tanks could potentially be improved in other armies, especially in a somewhat vehicle-unforgiving environment such as the current 9th edition. So, here is me hoping that something good comes out for this for other armies as well. Speaking of other armies, moving on to the new Be'lakor model that has been previewed on Warhammer Community. While the full datasheet is not yet available, there is one thing that stuck out to me in particular, namely his Blade of Shadows and its piercing strike attack, ignoring invul saves. Before I move on to why I think that this has been terribly designed, let's briefly look at what I consider a good example instead. Deathwatch players will no doubt be well familiar with this, the Xenophase Blade. Just like the mentioned piercing strike attack, this sword also has the special ability to ignore invul saves. Looking at its stats though, it is easy to spot the difference. This kind of weapon is specifically designed to circumvent saving throws, both armor thanks to the -4 AP and invul saves thanks to the mentioned special ability. But that's basically it. The rest of its stats line is a fairly standard +1 strength and 1 damage for sword weapons. If you want to boost the weapon beyond that, there is the concept of the infamous Deathwatch /Captain. Space Marine captains have a default strength of 4, you then get 1 more from the sword and can then stack 2 warlord traits and a relic on top of that, in order to bring the strength up to 8 and the damage to 2. While this makes a quite potent character overall, there is a clear balance between the one aspect that the weapon brings along by itself and the remaining attributes that have to be boosted through other means. Furthermore, even when getting the damage from 1 to 2, there are currently a variety of rules and abilities that can bring it back down to 1 anyway. In contrast, the piercing strike ability just does everything at once. High strength, -4 AP and a massive minimum damage of 4, which is absolutely going to wreck characters, elite infantry and vehicles alike. This kind of omnipotent weapons is what I consider a bad design when compared to the Xenophase Blade. Actually, I've been thinking about what the reason could be to design such a weapon outside of pure codex creep. And one thing I briefly considered was that GW is just further trying to rein in invul saves, something that I would not necessarily oppose at all. However, if that was indeed the case, then why does this model come with a 4+ invul save? Just no. To wrap things up, is the Piety and Pain box selling out instantly a sign of a too good to be true kind of discount, or have scalpers and worldwide circumstances played their part? With the Sisters of Battle getting their own version of a Predator tank in the near future, it will be interesting to see how its rules look like and how it's going to fit into a 9th edition Sisters army. Let me tell you that us Space Marine players are eagerly watching, and I bet so are our fellows from the Imperial Guard. And then finally, an example of how not to design a weapon. Be'lakor's piercing strike is everything gone wrong with game balance, having insane values throughout its entirety of stats, including the special ability to bypass invul saves. Codex creep or not, I don't think trying to overcome one imbalance with another is the way to go, especially not if you want to combat invul saves and then give this very character an invul save on top. GW, you can do better than this. So that's it for this week's thoughts on the current state of Warhammer 40k. Thank you very much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. Have you guys been pre-ordering Piety and Pain, and or are you going to get your hands on the Castigator tank? And what is your view on Be'lakor? Let me know in the comments below. And if this video has been helpful, please drop me a like and subscribe to the channel for future videos. Thank you again and see you soon.